Bitcoin, at the end of the day, it is growing almost exponentially. So this is something that's going to go up 10x, 20x from where we are now. And basically 25% a year, there's more Bitcoin users every year. And it doesn't matter, died, and then last year it went back up. That sort of like sounds like a very risky kind of investment, probably too risky for most people, like especially somebody my age, right? They'd be like, yeah, I don't need that. That sounds like way too much volatile, just complete risky casino. Let's look at the logarithm of Bitcoin price, which the logarithm is a good way that you can put a graph of Bitcoin price over a very wide time scale. So from when Bitcoin was at 10 cents, right? So the logarithm is -1 at 10 cents, right? To right now where Bitcoin, let's say it's roughly $100,000, not quite 100,000 yet, but 100,000 would be 10 to the power 6. The logarithm of it in base 10 is 6. So you went from -1 to +6. Look at time also on a logarithmic basis. So look at time starting at the Genesis block and 15 years from there. So 10 years, that's 1. Because 10 to the power 1, 10 to the power 1 is 10, right? And so you start at 0, you go to a little bit beyond 1. Now you're at 1.4 or 1.3. So if you look at time that way and logarithm price, now you see, whoa, it's a complete straight line. It's very clear. It's completely a straight line. And now it wobbles around the straight line, but it's very clear that it's growing linearly. Here's the thing. If you're looking at an asset that is sort of growing at some linear rate and it's oscillating around this linear rate, I would say, yeah, it's way too volatile. You can either invest in something that's going to go up 10% a year, almost guaranteed, or you can get an asset that's going to grow 40% a year, plus or minus 40%. Now you're like, I'll take the 10% for sure. Like my house on the canals in Netherlands, that thing's probably going to grow up 10% a year. Maybe 7%. That sounds a lot safer than something that's might go down 40%. But that's not the correct way of looking at it. It's not like it's a linear thing. It's actually an exponential thing. So because it's exponential, not linear, it's not just volatility around a linear path. It's volatility around an exponential path. So if somebody said, well, you have this exponential asset, which has some volatility around an exponential path, do you want that? You should be like, of course I want that. It's great. This thing's going to be the next Microsoft, right? I'm buying Microsoft in 1986. Like, I don't care what the volatility is if I buy Microsoft at around 86. And Microsoft went up 3,000 times from 1986 till now. So Bitcoin it's on a very high growth trajectory. And it's not just a linear growth. It's going to grow a lot, compounded really high. So this is something that's going to go up 10x, 20x from where we are now. And so because it's going to go up 10x, 20x, you're going to get a massive amount of volatility because it's growing at this super linear way. Not just even x squared, it's growing at x to the power 6. If you see something that's growing at x to the power 6, you absolutely should own that thing. You just have to get it in your head. This thing's growing at x to the power 6. Okay, I'm going to own that.